Kempire is brought to you by...
We just had another successful Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era live experience in Atlanta, and we are headed to Washington, D.C. on August 22nd. Every single show is so uniquely different. Ask anyone that's been to the Philly show or the Atlanta show or the next Washington, D.C. show. Get your tickets today for our night of hot topics, tea being spilled, me and you, and for so much more. More information will be available in the description on our next show date, which will be coming up August 22nd. And then our last summer tour date will be here in New York City on September 12th at the Green Room 42. That show not only will have a meet and greet available, will also have a live stream option. So no matter where you are in the world, you will be able to be a part of the Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era live show in New York City on September 12th. More information on both shows will be available in the description. I'll see you all very soon.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source. Yes. For pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all the good things. Back in the studio after a very successful show in Atlanta this past Tuesday. Thank you to everyone that came out to our Atlanta show. Thank you to everyone that came out to the Philly show. Thank you to everyone that's already bought tickets for the DC show. Thank you to everyone that's already bought tickets for the New York City show. Don't forget the New York City show has a live stream option. So anyone, even if you came to our Atlanta show or you came to our Philly show, especially if you came to our Atlanta show, what we did in Philly is not what we did in Atlanta. So Philly, if you want to see what we did in Atlanta, well, no promises, because literally the ideas that I had for the Atlanta show came to me like that week. And I was like, oh, I want to change this up. I want to add this. And as you know, God only knows what could happen in the next couple of weeks. Might be one of the biggest stories for us to talk about. So every single show is so uniquely different. So get your tickets today for the Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era. Look. It's coming to Washington, D.C. on August 22nd. Then I'm in New York City on September 12th. Get your tickets today. More information will be available in the description. All right. Goss. Hey, Goss the Boss. I met Goss the Boss at the Atlanta show. So when I was at the Atlanta show, the guy taking the tickets mentioned offhandedly how nice of a young man Kempire is. Just a class act. Oh, thank you, Goss the Boss. I met Goss the Boss. There was so much tea spilled in Atlanta. Oh no, I got to do a separate live to talk. I can't really divulge everything, but we'll talk about the experience of being in Atlanta for like 48 hours. When I went to Atlanta last year, I did all the things. I went to the High Museum. I went to the aquarium. I went to the different restaurants. I was hanging out. This time around, I was like, in and out. Look, in and out. But we had such a fantastic time. But I'll talk about that separately in another live. All right? Today is about our friends over at the Real Housewives of Miami. They are filming their reunion here in New York City today. As we speak, they're filming their reunion. And I saw The Hollywood Reporter did an article. I did not get a chance to read the article. I did see some of the hot takes coming out of the article. Ratings are up this season, apparently, like 14%. Please understand, too, and I'm not saying that this is not true. You know we love Real Housewives of Miami. But please understand, Bravo does these sort of exposés or these editorial collaborations with these major outlets to drum up a different narrative. I'm not saying that the ratings aren't up for Real Housewives of Miami, but come on. You're not telling me they're that up in comparison to the live viewership that we're seeing based off of Bravo's numbers. It's far different than what we're seeing with Real Housewives of Atlanta. You're not telling me that, oh my God, they're shaking the table on Peacock. I love Real Housewives of Miami, and I think they deserve it. However, come on. I'd like to really break down these. You're probably understanding now with social media more than ever how the media controls and spins things, especially if you travel outside of the United States. You understand, like, oh, this is how you guys view us. This is what you guys are talking about outside of the United States. So this is why I say these things, just to kind of just keep you looking at things with a critical eye. Okay, but I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. I love Real Housewives of Miami. You know that if you've been here. I love them. I'm just saying, come on now. All of a sudden this week, we're going to get an editorial from The Hollywood Reporter about how good Real Housewives of Miami is. Really? Because everyone has been talking how bad the ratings have been. But like I said, I enjoyed the show. The ratings don't equate to quality. I mean, you saw Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in their last season. They had tremendous ratings. The quality was not there. Oh, and if you came to the Atlanta show, he says, show the receipts, right? They're never going to. But if you came to the Atlanta show, we talked about Bozema. I didn't expect to talk about Bozema, but you probably saw that interview that she did this past week. We talked about a lot. We covered a lot. Shout out to Atlanta. Shout out to the City Winery. Shout out to the Batty Twins for holding us down as our MCs for the night. We had a good time. Okay. All right. Where do I want to begin? Oh, let's start with the seating chart. Let's start with the seating chart for the Real Housewives of Miami reunion that is happening as we speak here in New York City. I'm looking forward to seeing their reunion fashions. We haven't seen that yet. I'm sure maybe in a couple of weeks we'll see that. But this is the seating chart, and a lot of us were shocked. Look at the seating chart. So the seating chart for the people that are listening to this on the Kempire podcast, you have Andy Cohen there, of course, in the middle. But then you have Alexia on one side and Stephanie on the other side. Stephanie? Did Stephanie buy her seat? Because we have to keep in mind we're only on episode 9. They probably have at least 7, 8 more episodes before we get to the reunion. Or maybe 9. Her beef with Alexia is going to be what brings her to next to Andy. I don't get it. Hey, Chef Lorraine. I met Chef Lorraine at the Atlanta show. I still don't see it. I don't see it because at the end of the day, the root of whatever issues that Alexia and Stephanie have are not that deep, are elevated in a way that's not even necessary. Like last week's episode when it came to Alexia being so upset with her calling her Rottweiler. You called yourself a Rottweiler. So are we going to drag this beef out till Seville? Like, no. If anything, the issues between Julia and Gertie have played out on this show throughout the majority of the season. You see in this week's episode, it seems as if they put things to bed. Okay? Maybe they don't talk about it for the rest of the season, but it's been playing out on social media ever since. Production, read the room. But if you look at the chart, everyone that's sitting across from each other have had issues with everyone else. So you see Alexia versus Stephanie, Larsa versus Lisa. My thing is, why is Gertie and Julia not even in the second seat? Please understand, disclaimer, I don't care about where they sit. It doesn't mean that they're going to keep their jobs or not. They're all going to come back, except Julia. I hope not. I hope not. I would not miss Julia. I said to myself, thinking about Real Housewives of Orange County, if Gina and Emily left, would I be heartbroken? Would it change the dynamic of the show? No, no, no. If Julia leaves, would I be heartbroken? Well, if you've been following this page and this channel, then you already know I've been wanting her to leave for a long time. But that's me, okay? So then you have Julia versus Gertie. Then you have Marisol versus Adriana, despite them making peace this week, okay? Okay, based off the seating chart, I really almost guaranteed in my head that Gertie and Julia would be sitting next to Andy. Almost guaranteed it in my head. But again, we do not know how the rest of the season plays out. April says Julia or Julia. If you still watch What Happens Live last night, Adriana brought up that, some of these women haven't even graduated high school. And Andy was like, who? Why did Andy automatically think L? Larsa or Lisa, it would fit. Andy is so shady without necessarily being shady. He said, does it begin with an L? At first I thought Lisa, but then I was like, wait, Larsa, it could fit for Larsa. But you saw how Adriana's like, no, Larsa graduated college. I think we all knew that. She doesn't act like it, but I think we knew that. So everyone was like, oh, she says it begins with a Y. Whose name? And Andy's like, whose name begins with a Y? Julia. So Julia didn't graduate high school? I got something for you, Julia. Buckle up. Okay. So this is the seating chart. All right. And then Kiki's all the way at the end. As she should be. Kiki, every single week, I'm seeing such chicken head behavior. Yup, I said it. Always bringing back information to the bros. And if you look at how the group is separated, this is literally how the group is separated. The group is separated based on this seating chart. All of these people on the right are friends together. They're the mean girls, including you, Kiki. All right. And then I think Stephanie has gravitated towards, because you saw Stephanie was hanging out with Gertie and Dr. Nicole. I also saw that Gertie has done a couple of interviews, and the more Gertie speaks about this stuff, the more it makes sense. When Gertie speaks about the issues and why she's been reacting the way she's been reacting this season, because she was like, okay, I made peace with everyone on camera, but then she's watching the season back and she's seeing all the little things that they're saying, and she's getting upset all over again. Which happens with Real Housewives, but she's seeing like, oh wait, but you said this, like you're complete like hypocrisy. Beautiful Jen says Kiki's the ops. She cannot be trusted. I said that literally last night when watching this. I posted this on X and I said, oh no, she is the ops. And then she tried to pretend like she doesn't know what cult means. I don't believe it. I think Kiki likes to play dumb. In this day and age, you're not telling me you're in Florida. The biggest cult is located there. Scientology. You're not telling me, Kiki, that you didn't know what cult means. You were sitting there pretending. She said that you guys were like in a cult? A cult? Girl, stop. Stop with trying to play dumb. I really don't believe that she did not know what cult meant. And I know there's a language barrier, but nope, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. She's been doing this the entire season. Maybe this was the first time she did it during the season. I could be like, well, maybe. No, you've been bringing news to the ops this entire season. In my opinion. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Okay. Regina says Julia's real name is Julia Andreevna Lemigova. Okay, so only Adriana would be able to really... I trust everything that comes out of Adriana's mouth, to be honest with you, because it just continues to be true. Everything that she says comes to pass. Thank you, Regina, for doing the Lord's work and confirming. I figured it. As soon as she said why, and I was just like, maybe she means Julia? Julia? I don't know. Foxy says Kiki does play dumb. All right? Oh, okay, Keith. Keith, you can always rely on a Virgo. Keith says, mind you, cult is culte. I don't know how you pronounce it in French Creole. I don't believe that she didn't know what that meant. Hey, Vicky. Vicky's watching on Facebook. Vicky says she's like Marysol trying to be full-time Kiki. Without a doubt. And here's the thing. I know I say this every week that none of them need to be full-time, the friend does. They are so integral to this story. All of them are important. We should see everything from them. However, I also understand them being full-time means a bigger check. So for them, it's about the money. And being a friend of the show probably isn't a lot of money, especially in this new era of Real Housewives. The Real Housewives of Miami leads are not making what people have made over the years. If they were still on and they were, Alexia and Marysol probably would have been making $1 million or $2 million if the show had remained on. But there was a big hiatus. They're not making that kind of money. They're probably making decent money now, but the friend ofs are definitely not making that. Okay? All right. So this is the seating chart. I have to wait and see how the rest of the season goes as to why they decided to put Stephanie next to Andy or even Alexia. I mean, I could see Alexia because Alexia has been having, the Todd of it all this season. Now the beef with Stephanie. But still, no. It will also be interesting to see how they handle the microaggressions from this cast. Not just from Julia. The macroaggressions from this cast when it comes to the whole Gertie of it all. According to the article from the Hollywood Reporter, they said that Julia was reprimanded for splashing Gertie the way that she was. Well, the same way that you guys reprimanded Britt Edie. I don't trust anything that comes out of Bravo's mouth. Again, this is all a PR campaign. They didn't. I don't think they expected a backlash because my thing is how many different wives have been on Watch What Happens Live since this happened, and in no time did Andy denounce that behavior. At no time did he denounce it. He didn't endorse it like Isaac Mizrahi. So glad. Whatever, sir. I saw that Gertie got really emotional when she was on Gibson's Gabbing with Gibson? Gabbing with Gib? Podcast, and she got emotional talking about it because she was like, I was physically assaulted. It wasn't just like, oh, a splash. She was like, splash. And she said that this has happened multiple times with Julia over the years when it comes to her being physical with the other women. But anyway, so that is the seating chart. I mean, they could have put Kiki on the other side, but this is how the cult has been formed. All right. Julia, you can go. I can't stand Julia. I've been saying that I just can't stand her. And this season was just really the cherry on top. It was the cherry on top for me. Oh, I did see this El Michelle. Hey, Michelle. El Michelle came to the show too. El Michelle says, Kempire, did you hear Andy say that he wishes issues can be played out instead of housewives ousted, agreeing with Loni. Loni's hot takes, Loni loves hot takes in regards to unpopular opinions, were cringy, especially coming from a black woman. Some of them, those hot takes were cringy. I was just like, really? But again, that was the name of the game. But one of her opinions was that, instead of just getting rid of people, I wish you would just allow things to play out. But here's the thing. I know you would like to see that, but we are still in a work environment. It really depends on what actually happened. If it was something that could be discussed and worked out, maybe. However, if it's something like threatening somebody with a pistol or being physically assaulting someone, there should be zero tolerance when it comes to that. We don't need to see things play out. Like when we look at the Kenya and the Brit Edie of it all, we don't need anything to play out with Brit. Brit wasn't a good housewife regardless. It would have been the same fakery we would have gotten in season 17. But that's me. Shout out to our members. It is a members. I forgot to mention that. It is a members only live chat. We do this at least once a month here on the channel. So shout out to our members. To become a member, head on over to teamkempire.com/join. All right. That's what I was wondering. I was like, oh, wait, I'm only seeing members say, because I made it a members only chat. Okay. Yes. Okay. Miriam says that Anna, remember Anna, who used to be on Real Housewives of Miami, also said that Julia has been violent before. She threw a chair at Marysol during the Mamacita lunch, but production protected her and didn't show it. I did hear about that. There are a few examples. Again, Julia could go. The show would survive and be okay without Julia and Martina, especially with Martina's here's the thing. Technically, legally, Andy could not just let go of Julia because he's upset about what she said when it comes to surrogacy. But I'm going to help you out, Andy. She's a terrible housewife. No one likes her. We definitely, after this season, do not like her. She could go. And no one would bat an eyelash. No one. Right? Twitch. Shout out to our Twitch fam. Guys, don't forget, you can also watch us on Twitch. We're streaming in 4K. Shout out to the Twitch fam. We see you guys. I forgot. I got to stream from my other platform in order to stream 4K. But they still say I look stellar on Twitch. Shout out to Twitch. Shout out to Tanya's there. We've got Angel there. She says Kiki needs to learn how to keep private information between the sisters. Stop dry snitching on Gertie. Envy says seating chart. Hey, Angel. Angel says, I'm a member. I know you're a member, Angel, but you're hanging out on Twitch, which is fine. I will be dropping the call link exclusively to the Twitch fam as well. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheKempire. Okay, TheKempire on Twitch. Shout out to everyone watching on X as well. We see you guys. Midwestern Jules is celebrating 33 months of being a member. They say... So is the seating chart on X by Bravo real with Stephanie and Alexia side by side to AC for reunion and not Gertie? Again, love this community. Yeah, that's the real one. I just showed it to you. I'm Midwestern Girl. I'll bring it up again. This is the actual seating chart. And Bravo asked our predictions yesterday on social media, the seating chart predictions for the Real Housewives of Miami. No one expected this. No one expected this with Stephanie and Alexia sitting next to each other. All right, let's get to this episode because I'm already kind of like, This is an okay episode for me. What did you guys think of the episode? If you had to rate this episode from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? It was okay. It was all right. It will be interesting. I'm thinking once we get on a trip and we go somewhere, I'll be more excited. So we have these two simultaneous scenes happening. I didn't know that you can basically bring your dog to a doggy brothel because Basquiat, her dog, remember, she's an art curator, so of course she knows who Basquiat is. I don't like how people were trying to downplay that Adriana is not smart. I know Adriana downplays her smartness a lot of the time, but she will gather you together and be like, yes, I'm a part of a hybrid program at Harvard. This is probably her second master's, if not her third. I'm not surprised. And I think based on the timeline that she gave, she should be done with her master's this year. She said the spring, and this was filmed last year. So we shall see. All right, so Adriana goes to the doggy brothel with Lisa, and she says, before she gets her dog snipped, she wants him to get one last hurrah. Because he has a habit of, my thing is he's like 3 years old, she said, 4 years old? Why hasn't he been snipped already? Okay. Because he likes to, hump on people's legs. Okay. Anyway, so she brings the dog there. She's like, I do not want to watch. But they find a candidate for Basquiat. All right. Then she sits down with Lisa to talk about everything that went on with Marysol. And she says that she's regretful. She says she drank too much, but she's definitely regretful about what she said about Marysol, even though all of us are still laughing about it. Okay, maybe not talking about her looks or body shaming her, but some other things that she said were funny. Okay. Then she says that she doesn't like that she then talks about Julia, and she says she feels like Julia's intentionally forgetting some of the things that Marisol and Alexia have said and done. I said this on X. Julia is not even loyal to Martina. So we should already know if she can't be loyal and show up for Martina when Martina's having cancer or going for chemotherapy, please understand, she will never be loyal to you. As a friend, if I saw you were like that, very flippant, or you make everything about you, she's a narcissist. They're all narcissists. But please look at Julia's behavior. Julia is a narcissist. Because she makes, even the stuff with Gertie, she makes everything about herself and how she's hurt and how she's been hurt in the situation. Remember the whole celebration that was supposed to be for Martina? Now it becomes about her becoming an opera singer and that she's going to perform at this thing. So it's about her again. But I think Martina's okay with it. I think Martina has reached a point in her life. She's like, I have this pretty model. And sidebar, did you guys hear this is a rumor, alleged. I don't know if it's true. I did see that Adriana allegedly was in the comment section confirming this. The issues on the cruise with Gertie and Julia, I guess apparently Julia wanted to be with Captain Sandy or cheat with Captain Sandy, allegedly. I don't know. I don't even know if it's considered cheating. I think Martina and Julia have an open relationship. This is not the first time that we've heard allegations that Julia has been with black men or been with someone else, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So I mean, it crossed my mind, but then when people were confirming it in the comment section, I was like, oh, do we think that's why she didn't want Gertie there? She wanted Captain Sandy all to herself. Mind you, Captain Sandy is married too. But again, maybe there's open relationships. I don't know. But it wouldn't shock me. But I also think Martina probably allows it. We haven't seen Martina, and literally we hear in this episode how cancer can affect your intimacy and things like that. So maybe her having the cancers also affected intimacy between them. And maybe she's like, you know what? You can go out and do your own thing. I don't know. I am speculating. Okay? Just to emphasize, I'm just speculating. Foxy says that Captain Sandy's married. So is Julia. I watched that season when she proposed to her girlfriend on Below Deck Med. I'm not watching the current season of Below Deck. I need to get into it. I love Below Deck. It's like a nice warm hug to watch. I don't really love all the changes since Captain Lee left, but I haven't heard anyone talk about this current season. I'd be interested to see what this current season's giving. All right. So Adriana's getting Basquiat done. Okay. We also had this other scene with Julia and Marysol having drinks. Marysol says that she was very offended by the things that Adriana said about her body on the boat. And she says she also didn't like that. She feels like Adriana's always taking digs at her. And she felt at the narcissist party, the Grecian party, she kept on putting red flags in her thing. That's because, here's the thing. I know in Marisol's mind, she feels like they've made peace, her and Adriana. I believe that they don't like each other. They will never like her. If you flash forward in this episode, when they come back after their peaceful conversation, and she mentions, I've made peace with Marysol. Look at Alexia's face. Alexia did not look happy about that. Because they have this toxic best friend loyalty that they can't help but like, yeah, we both hate Adriana. We're going to always hate Adriana. Okay. Oh, okay. Angelique says Below Deck is just now getting good. Was slow and boring. Oh, God. Well, that's not going to keep me to getting in. You know what I am currently watching on Netflix? The Hunting Wives. I had started watching it maybe a couple months ago, and then I stopped. And then a lot of people were talking about it on social media. And I was like, let me get back into this. So while I was away, I started getting back into The Hunting Wives. No spoilers. I heard the ending's terrible, but I only have like 2 more episodes. It's good. It reminds me of like a Dallas. Remember Dallas? Reminds me of something like that. It's real good. It's real good. Anyway, it's available on Netflix. If you're part of the Club Kempire, maybe I'll talk about it there. Club Kempire is our Apple Podcast paid subscription. You can get a free 3-day trial, by the way. All right? That's where I've talked about The White Lotus. I talk about Big Brother. I spilled tea there. Maybe I'll spill some of the tea from the show in Atlanta there. Okay? Beautiful Gem says Hunting Wives is so good. It is. Nicole says, that's my series. Mr. Melon Magic says, baby, that show is good. No spoilers. Yeah, no spoilers, guys. Very good. Like I said, maybe I'll talk about it in Club Kempire. Okay. All right. Where do I want to go? So, Marysol talks about she didn't like the body shaming from Adriana. But Adriana, in her conversation with Lisa, was owning up to it. She said, I drank too much. I went too far. I shouldn't have said those things. At least she owns it. At least she didn't need someone to tell her that. Okay? All right. And then she says she doesn't like the fact that Adriana's calling her old, like an old lady. And she's like, she's older than me. But here's the thing. You set yourself up for that one, Marysol. She might be older than you, but you look way older than her. Let's be honest. Like, no one knew that these women were in the same age group. But when you look at Marysol and Adriana, you're going to think that Marysol's older. I think Marysol is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I do whatever Marysol has done. It's making her look younger. She's what, 50 something? Not really, but she looks good for her age. All right. For her age, I mean, she doesn't necessarily look 30, 40. She looks like her age, but she looks nice, right? Look. Move on. Okay, let's move on. All right. So Julia says that Adriana is upset because of her relationship with Marysol and Alexia. And she says, I do not condone her behavior. Julia, and I get it. Yes, I wouldn't condone Adriana's behavior. Adriana's not condoning her own behavior. But just pay attention to how Julia handles these conversations. She has no loyalty to anyone. Not even her best friend of how many years? Because apparently that's the picture they painted for us, that they were best friends before this show. Okay? Julia says that the friendship with Gertie, that ship has sailed. She says that. She says that the friendship with Gertie, when they talk about everything that's going on with Gertie, she's like, that friendship has sailed. I was like, oh, she's done with Gertie. But Gertie should be done with you. And even when they have their conversation and Gertie apologizes, I don't think Gertie needs to apologize. She apologizes, and Julia says in her confessional, she's like, I can be civil. She's so cold-hearted. Like, someone like her, I would never turn my back on Julia. I don't trust Julia. I don't trust what Julia had to say about why her daughters aren't speaking to her. I don't trust her, but we'll get to that. Gertie FaceTimes with Dr. Jackie, which is because Dr. Jackie is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. So they talk about intimacy. She says, Gertie opens up about how they're on the same page. They're stronger than ever, her and Russell. But the intimacy has been affected by what's happened. And some of that might be psychological too, because remember, she's also saying that he kind of still views her as the patient versus his wife and the woman that's been in control all these years. So that could also affect intimacy. A lot of times, intimacy starts up in your brain more so than like the physicality of it all. But I'm thinking she's talking about the physical part of it. Okay. So she talks about that with Dr. Jackie, and Dr. Jackie says that Gertie doesn't look like what she's been through. All right. And Dr. Jackie gets emotional talking about that, and Gertie gets emotional hearing her say that. She's like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Sometimes when someone cries, that will make you cry. So, and that's the thing that I do like about Dr. Jackie. I know Dr. Jackie just brings nothing to Married to Medicine when it comes to like a storyline or interesting television. But when she talks about medicine, like we can't deny that Dr. Jackie knows what she's talking about. Those are the moments that I perk up and I pay attention to Dr. Jackie. I'm like, oh, because I know she knows what she's talking about. So she talks about she's going to send a care package to Gertie with things to help with her and Russell. Then they talk about the group dynamic and how the group has not been supportive of her. So Dr. Jackie gives her advice. And she was just like, you should switch your mind in regards to how your friends are treating you. If anything, their behavior towards you should motivate you to see it another way. So Gertie decides in that moment that, and this might be what motivated her to have the conversation with Julia later on in the episode. So she said she decides based on what Dr. Jackie's advice that she's going to be the bigger person. And when you get the context of what's happening between Julia and Gertie, every time Gertie breaks it down and she talked about it in an interview, we gain a better understanding. Like she has not changed her story. If anything, she gives you more context to what's been happening on. Remember the ship stuff, the cruise stuff is from 2023. She said all that stuff happened before last year's reunion. So all of this being dragged out to season 7 seems desperate. A desperate attempt for Julia to keep her job, to maybe get the seat next to Andy, and she still didn't get the seat next to Andy. Still didn't get the seat next to Andy. Like, you're lame. And now all of us are like, Julia can go. We do not want to see Julia next season. I definitely don't want to see Martina next season. I barely like seeing Martina now. Martina's old, and look, I'm not going to sit here and act as if, like, when we talk about Charles Oakley or when we talk about the Todd father, like the grumpy spouse, she's sort of like the grumpy spouse, but here's the difference. Not only are you the grumpy spouse, you're also the problematic spouse. You're transphobic. You're talking about how surrogacy is wrong. Mind you, just adopted children. You're damn near 70. I thought it was interesting and kind of rude when Stephanie said, so how old will you guys be when the kids turn 20? I was like, oh, I cringe. I don't think she can help herself from being a little cringe, Stephanie. Stephanie's a little cringe. I was like, girl, why are you asking that? Just do the math. Google schmoogle it. It's all available online. But yeah, how old will they be? Well, I'll tell you. When the boys are 20, Julia will be like 70-something years old. And Martina will be damn near 90 years old. She'll be 88. All right. Did you guys also notice in that scene that Julia didn't know Martina's age? She's like, she just turned 67. 68. Look, 68. Oh, Lord. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Nicole says, Kempire, I was just playing Project Pat Chicken Heads this morning during my workout. Yes, I am a dirty South girl. Because I said chicken heads. Thank you, Nicole. Kendra, thank you so much for the super chat. Kendra says, unfortunately, the goal is to force Gertie out, like Garcelle. After she leaves, we will see certain cast members pretend they have no clue why she left. RHOM got away with this, so now will others try it? I mean, I can see it. I already said that it's giving Fox Force flunkies. Thank you, Kendra, for the super chat. I mean, okay. She says, breaking news, Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband just passed away via TMZ. Well, may he rest in peace. If you followed it, I've covered their divorce. Barbie, thank you so much for the super chat. He's young, though. That's quite young for him to pass away. And he does have kids with condolences to Kelly Clarkson and her kids. So that, I mean, did they say how? Look, was there something? All right. Barbie, thank you so much for the super chat. Barbie says, Kempire, I am so blessed to have met you. Thanks for your encouraging words, and please come back to Los Angeles. I mean, I would love to. Oh, your picture is us at the meet and greet. Thank you, Barbie. Barbie Querez. Is this your YouTube channel that you were talking about that you launched? She talks sports, y'all. She was talking sports. And she came all the way from Orange County to see me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Barbie. I will definitely come back to LA. The venue that we used last time, which we loved, actually closed down. I have to double check and see if they ever reopened, but we have to find a new venue in LA. But before I can come back to LA, I know so many other people want me to come to their city, so let's not even talk about it. Because then everybody's like, no, you need to come here. No, we're not even getting into that today, okay? Dr. Payne, thank you so much for the super chat. Dr. Payne says, hi, Kempire. Hi, friends. I'm loving Gertie. That's all. I can't wait to see Gertie's outfit for this reunion. I mean, the Miami ladies usually bring good fashion, right? Gertie does usually. We'll talk about the Preppy party. Your agent, Keela, thank you for being a member, and thank you for the super chat. Keela says, Kempire, hear me out. Bring the villain era to Vegas. Martina gets to Lulu. Why to Vegas? Adriana needs to keep her foot on Marisol's knees. I'm sorry. Because, we normally say keep your foot on someone's neck. She said... Keila, stop. Why come to Vegas? We don't have we have communities, but then that would require everyone to go to Vegas. And I don't love Vegas like that. Shout out to our Vegas folks that live out there, but I don't love Vegas. I didn't love going to Vegas for BravoCon the previous year. And this is another motivation for me not to go this year. If it was in New York, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm here in New York. I'll go. But no. All right. Moving on. All right. So Gertie has that beautiful conversation with Dr. Jackie, and Dr. Jackie gives her advice on how to move forward with this group. So that's where Gertie says, you know what? I'm going to be the better person in this moment. So then we have this couple's dinner with Masood, Stephanie, and Martina and Julia. Again, Julia's a narcissist. Did you guys notice when they were coming down? She's like, do you like my haircut? Do you like my haircut? Girl, she probably saw you this morning and in the car. Like, why all of a sudden it's like, oh, do you like my haircut? It always has to be about, she's like, oh, you look beautiful. It's like, oh my, I mean, if you like it, Martina, we love it for you, okay? But girl, always about her, okay? So we have the interaction between, because Masood's a big fan. Remember, Stephanie said in a previous, maybe the first episode that she was on, that Masood knows like everything about Martina. Because remember, Martina was a world-acclaimed professional tennis player. And she's like, that's the only woman that he's allowed to love in that way. April says, why Masood look like that? What do you mean? Like her dad? Go look back at the dad. Lord have mercy. Keila says, I live in Vegas. See? That's why you want me to come to Vegas. All right. So Julia says she doesn't remember. I pointed out when they talk about Martina's age, because Stephanie brings up, she's like, so how old will you guys be when the boys are 20? And this is when we find out that Julia and Martina are estranged from their eldest daughters. I don't know about you, but I was truly shocked because the way that they painted the picture that these, Julia's daughters and her were so close. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know that you guys were estranged. So they hadn't spoken to Martina and Julia, I don't know how long. But apparently the girls did not like the fact that they adopted these boys. We don't know the context, and I don't trust Julia to give us the honest truth. But I don't know. Maybe because they didn't talk to them about it. Maybe they didn't include them in the conversation. And some might say, well, you guys don't live at home. They're grown adults. They're going to be taking care of these kids. But if you're bringing some kids into a family, and especially Martina just had cancer, I don't know what the rules are when it comes to adoption in Florida. But I am a little, and again, when you have money, you can get away with a lot. But I do find it a little shocking that they were able to adopt these boys at their age, and Martina just battled cancer. And again, I mean, look, one of the hardest kids to adopt or to get adopted are Black children. So I'm happy that the boys were adopted, but I'm still concerned because of what we've seen this season when it comes, or what we've seen with Martina, or what we've seen with Julia this season towards Gertie. So that's what makes me concerned for the boys. But Black children are often not adopted at the same rate as white children. And the boys are not babies. So there's just a whole thing. And that might be part of the reason why they were able to adopt them. I don't know. But when we find out in the scene that they've been estranged from the parents, meaning the daughters have been estranged, I was just like, I need to know the daughter's side. Like, what about this adoption made them upset? Was it the fact that they weren't included? Was it because the way it was done? Again, we don't know. I'm sure during this reunion that they're filming today here in New York, we will have a better understanding, maybe at the reunion, like what exactly did the daughters not like about the adoption? Did they just think that maybe they were too old to be adopting? Oh, hold on. God's Child says adoption agencies in Florida have a cutoff at age 50, but the state doesn't have an age cutoff. Wait, huh? Adoption agencies in Florida can have a cutoff age at 50, but the state, okay, so the agencies usually have a cutoff. I think they probably threw their money. They threw their money around. They're public figures. I wouldn't be surprised that this adoption allegedly may have not been, read between the lines, okay? Coco says, has the adoption been approved? I believe so. Because I think it happened during the season. Because remember, I think it wasn't fully there when she made the announcement on the show. But then I think when you see the social worker, that's where we're seeing it was about to happen. All right. Okay, Jen says, gotta split the will 4 ways instead of 2 ways. We're assuming that they're in Martina's will. Because what money does Julia necessarily have? Yes, we know that she was a model. Okay, but she was not one of the models we knew of. Okay? How much money do you think models are making? She's not even Naomi Campbell status, and Naomi's out here hustling still. So I'm like, she ain't probably remember, all the stuff that Julia has is because of Martina. That farm she has is because of Martina. The reason why she's on this show is because of Martina. She don't have her own. So those girls, I don't know if Martina adopted the girls. Do we recall that? You know what I mean? Keith says, I'm surprised it was Florida and not Africa like many celebrities. Baby. Who knows? I don't know if I believe everything was allegedly done. So, anyways, guys, if you're just joining us, don't forget to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Miami. You can also hear an audio version of our live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Reviews matter. So if you haven't done it already, be sure to do it. Shout out to our Spotify community. You can comment on there. We can do polls and things like that. And on our YouTube post page, we posted today that we've announced that we're going to be doing the Rewatch, Rewind, Recap with myself here on the channel. We're going to start off with Real Housewives of Atlanta and New York. I've asked you guys what seasons we should start with. I don't want to necessarily start with season 1 because I feel like that's when they're getting their feet wet. I don't want to, and I don't necessarily want to start necessarily in order, meaning like, season 1, season 2. No, I want to let's go with like 1 really stellar season because we can choose now. It's not like we have to wait to be like, oh, let's see how this season goes. No, we already know how the season goes. It's really for us to kind of watch it now and see how we would feel now watching it. So I've posted that. Be sure to let me know your thoughts. I saw a lot of people saying, do season 1 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I was like, I mean, it wasn't a bad season. I just don't want to do that. I want us to kind of like choose a season. And I already seen a lot of season 3s for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let me know in that post, and then we'll do a poll, and then we'll start. I think next week we'll start recapping. And I'm not going to recap episode by episode. I'm going to recap a few episodes at a time. So stay tuned for that. Oh, hold on. God's Child says, my bonus child cried real tears when my husband and I adopted, and we talked to her about our plans for 2 years before. It's a change in the family dynamic, so I get it. I'm glad you shared that. Thank you so much, God's Child, for sharing that. And that again, it's Julia, so her explaining things sometimes isn't necessarily. It doesn't always land, and it could be the language barrier. I understand that, but I also know that she lies. So I'm sort of like, what exactly? I want to hear from the girls. Maybe later in the season we'll see the girls actually talk about it on the show. I don't know. But right now she's estranged from her daughters and because of this adoption. And remember this, the adoption seemed like it was very sudden. She was off getting a facelift and blah, 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 whatever. All right. Marisol's, so at this Stephanie and Julia dinner, Julia brings up, we're going to bring Alexia to Seville for the cash trip. She invites her. Stephanie's just like, I'm going to take my private jet and you should come on it. And then Julia's just like, let me go. She's acting so silly. Like, what is wrong with her? Like, take your hands off you're damn near 60 years old. Like, what are you doing? She's like, oh my God. What's wrong with you? That would annoy me if my partner acted that way. But anyway, so they step aside to have a separate conversation to talk about Stephanie's issues with Alexia. And Stephanie's just like, I don't get what the issue is when it comes to Alexia towards her. Neither do I, especially when I felt like they put things to the side. Okay, and then Alexia got offended by the Rottweiler comment. And you're like, you called yourself that. And when she mentioned it, she was being facetious. It's not like she was being nasty about it. Okay? Stephanie says she feels like Alexia hasn't been very welcoming to her in the group. So we will see them have a conversation later on at Marisol's Preppy party. So let's fast forward to the Preppy party. So Marisol's holding a Preppy party. Marisol tells about her history. I forget that her father isn't from Cuba. Her father is from Massachusetts, I think she said. And so she talks about her Preppy history and things like that, blah, 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 blah. Marisol and Alexia have a conversation, though, about something that Kiki told Marysol about what Gertie said. Gertie apparently said that this group is like a cult. And they seem so offended by the word. You guys don't even realize you're offended by words. You're offended by the text messages. We read through the text messages. The text messages weren't that salacious for you guys to be so offended that you had to leave Gertie's party. And this word cult, it could be, replace the L and put an N, then I can understand being offended. But she's like, oh my God, they're so offended that Gertie would say that to them. I'm offended that Kiki ran to you guys with this information and wanted to pretend like she didn't know what the word meant. Okay, fine. All right. So I thought it was interesting how their reaction, you're so offended by that, but you guys did not even have that reaction when it came to Julia splashing Gertie with water. And the splashing, now I'm starting to think that you guys put the battery in Julia's back for her to do that. So that's why you guys weren't so offended. And here's the thing. And I say this before, I'm going to say it again. Gertie is not my favorite person. Literally watching this episode, I could see why, people could get annoyed with Gertie. Because Gertie doesn't stop. Like, if you're trying to have a conversation, Gertie's chiming in. Like it's always interrupting. That could be annoying. I understand that she's annoying and she can be annoying. All of you can be annoying, though. But at the same time, just because someone's annoying doesn't give you a right to throw water on them or to assault them. All right? But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Danny, hey Danny. Danny says, I have my third eye on Kiki. Me too, because I'm seeing a pattern of behavior, and I think it's because Kiki wants a mojito. And that's the sad part. And honestly, and I know I love this cast, the desperate attempts from some of these friend doves would make me want to put them on pause for a season. In my opinion. I also feel like they should be shifting the cast around regardless, because a lot of these folks, when they stay in this position, they feel as if they have to come up with something every season. They start self-producing. And although I've enjoyed this season, I'm just sort of like, I don't know. I can see the writing on the wall. Goss the Boss says, the goalpost for Gertie is unattainable. Yeah. Guys, we are almost at 300 likes. Don't forget to like the video. It's easy and free way of supporting the channel. Shout out to everyone watching on Twitch. Hey, Twitch fam. I see our Twitch fam. Hey, Twitch fam. They say they just want to hate on Gertie. And like I said, Gertie can be annoying. I can see how Gertie can be annoying. But at the same time, I'm like, you all can be annoying. Nicole, thank you so much for the super chat. Nicole says, I love when you imitate Julia. You sound like the Swedish cook from The Muppet. Oh, Julia. Sorry. Brandy, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Brandy says, did you see Loni Love on Watch What Happens Live? She says one of the 3 things Bravo needs to stop doing is putting random black women on these predominantly white shows. I did see that. We talked a little bit about some of her unpopular opinions. Here's the thing, though. I get what she's saying because some people have said that before. But where have they put a black woman where you wouldn't necessarily see a black woman? That's the thing. What city? Not they put a black woman in Orange County. No, because we know people, we have viewers that are black that live in Orange County. We know it's not predominantly known for that. I think the problem here, it doesn't have anything to do with putting black people or a person of color in a cast. The problem is that you're not doing your due diligence of making sure about the chemistry. That's the problem with casting. It doesn't have anything to do with the way that they look. It has to do with their chemistry. Does it make sense? Do they actually know each other? That was what the problem was with Ebony K. Williams on RHOM. She wasn't mixing and mingling with these women. That's where they went wrong. Like, she wasn't a friend to any of those women. So that's why it didn't translate. So where else have they put a black person where it didn't fit? Garcelle? Garcelle has been in Hollywood. She's been in Beverly Hills. What I would have to ask Loni, give me some examples, and I will give you an answer. It has nothing to do with them being black and them not fitting in. RHOM should have always had a mixture of people that look like New York. RHOM never looked like what New York has looked like for years. Let's be honest. But again, you saw it. They decided to put all of these different people of color on the new RHOM, and it didn't work because the chemistry and the actual connection between the women wasn't there. So when people are casting, they were trying to overcorrect instead of actually figuring out chemistry. And wait, do you actually know each other, or would you get along? That was the problem. It had nothing to do with putting people of color on a show. Just saying. Loni, it might go back to what people have accused Loni of being, but for me, it felt like, yes, sir. You're right, sir, kind of thing. Like, nah, you know what y'all saying, not all skin folk are your kinfolk? And I'm not saying that about Loni, but that's the energy it was giving. Because it's not about putting the one black person in a show. It's more so about the actual chemistry. Because in reality, that does happen where there's one black. I went to a majority white high school. That does in New York. So that does happen. And a lot of white people here in New York have a diverse group of friends, Indian, Asian. The building I live in, there's a mixture of people. That is New York. But it's not going to work if you start mixing and mingling people that don't know each other and you're not really paying attention to their personalities. I'm not a casting director, but that is what is going to make a great cast. When you look at Real Housewives of Atlanta, not all those women really knew each other. There was a smattering of people that knew each other or knew each other, but it was their personalities that made what they gave us in those years magical. Just saying, that's my opinion. Hey, Rita. Thank you so much for the super chat. Rita, I got your package as well. Thank you so much. I didn't open it yet, though. It's been sitting by my door, and I have to open it. Thank you, Rita. Rita, thank you for being a member. Rita says, as a fellow breast cancer survivor, it breaks my heart the way that these women treat Gertie. No compassion at all. No trip to support her. Oh, my gosh. Rita's right. We're going to take a trip for Alexia because Alexia is going through a divorce, not divorce, and your friend just overcame cancer. Did anyone do anything for Gertie? You bring up such a valid point. She says nothing, instead dehumanizing her. I was in tears, very hard to watch. Come on. Because not only are you offending women of color, black women, you're also offending women that have battled cancer before and they know what Gertie's going through. She's been very transparent about the after effects of cancer and breast cancer. But I didn't even think about that. You're so right, Rita. Like, where's her parade? Where's her celebration? And this could be a trip for both of them. But where was it? Brandy, thank you so much for the super chat. Brandy says, Alexia talking about that sinister, like, shut up already. Just looking for something negative regarding Gertie. Yeah, in regards to the whole cult comment. So as soon as she makes that comment, they bring up that comment, Gertie's the first to arrive. So Gertie posted on social media receipts. Gertie has been, I have to say, every receipt that Gertie has dropped has proved her point. Because she's the only one that came to this event with gifts. So not only did she bring the gift bags from her event that they walked out so offended by, she brought the gift bags for them. She didn't have to. She brought the gift bags and she brought a wedding gift for Marysol. Only for Marysol to say in her confessional, oh, she regifted it. Lisa gave her that. So Gertie posted the receipts on her social media, like, no, hun, I ordered it for you. Wow. Look, wow. Just saying. It's weird. And you know what? Hold on. Where's the comment? Oh, wait. Scherster says, it's clear that this group hates Gertie. And you know what production really should do? They should shift the cast. I'm not saying get rid of Gertie. I'm not even saying get rid of Alexia. But I would shift the cast. Maybe get rid of Marysol. How's Alexia going to function without Marysol this season? Clearly, they don't love Marysol enough to make her a full-time mojito. She's married. She got into the whole lavender marriage and everything, and they still didn't do it. So I would make some shifts. Get rid of Julia. Get rid of Kiki. Sorry, Kiki. You're not married. You're just a friend of. Get rid of Marisol. Get rid of Kiki. Get rid of Julia. And then I would freshen up the cast. I'll add some new people. And look, and no people from yesteryear. No, shift the cast. Shift the cast. Amit says Adriana needs to be full time. I don't think so. Here's the thing. When you look at what we're getting from Adriana during the season, I like Adriana. She's probably going to be the truth teller when it comes to this group. She's okay as a friend of. But you see what we get from Adriana, the fake boyfriend. We're going to a doggy brothel. There's not a lot going on in her life, which is fine. There's not a lot going on in my life. Y'all would call me boring if I was on reality television because I'm working. I'm doing this. Well, maybe when I travel, but that's about it. I'm going to do a travel show like Tracy Ellis Ross. But yeah, not being great for reality television isn't a bad thing. Rita says that Marisol's house looks like a garage. It's a little like a bungalow. That's a nice way, right? It's a little bungalow. Okay. Vicky says no, Adriana does not. Yeah, I don't think Adriana needs full time. Definitely not. Beautiful Gem says bring Dr. Nicole and 2 more. I don't think Dr. Nicole's going to come back, to be honest with you guys. She doesn't need it. She doesn't need this job, y'all. She's got a good husband. She's got a good job. She's got the 2 babies. She doesn't need this. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. All right, before we move on, I am going to drop the call-in link first for our Twitch members. Twitch, I'm going to drop it for you guys first. I'm going to take a few callers for our Real Housewives of Miami recap. If you're part of the replay crew, shout out to you guys. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on this week's episode of the Real Housewives of Miami and the Real Housewives of Miami Season 7 reunion seating. So let me know. Exactly, I say it definitely gives pool house. It doesn't give... Maybe that's why she doesn't get a mojito. She needs to start renting a place like her bestie, Alexia. All right, so Marysol makes that comment about Gertie regifting. I mean, even if it was a regift, that's a good damn hell of a regift, right? Like, why would you say that? It's weird. The microaggressions are so macro. All right. So they Gertie and they confront Gertie about the whole cult conversation. And I wish Gertie would have been like, yeah, I said it because you guys are acting like you're in a cult. No one has their own brain. But Gertie then makes it like, I'm going through what I'm going through. And I feel like no one has my back. Everyone has Julia's back. And Alexia's like, you got to be careful with saying stuff like that, what you want to say about the friend group. And then she's like, I have a feeling like you don't want to be in this friend group. It sounds so mean girl. It sounds so sorority. It sounds very much like the Fox Force flunkies. Like, no. And then they really, both Alexia and Marysol try to separate themselves. No, when she says that she feels like this group is a cult, she's talking about y'all being the cult leaders. She's talking about y'all being the leaders of this cult. I understood completely what she meant by, this feels like a cult. Can you imagine if it feels like everyone's trying to push you out? Everyone's on the right, on their page, and no one's on your page at all. No one can see your side. And don't be surprised. I can see Lisa. If they pull her in, Lisa will leave Guerdy and Adriana. Let's be honest. But at least she has their back now, and maybe because she's on the outs with Larsa. Maybe. All right. So they talk about that. They move on from that. Marysol and Adriana end up having a conversation. What did you guys think about the outfits? Who got it right? I have to say, the worst outfit for this preppy look, even though it was preppy, had to be Julia. Okay? It had to be... I was like, where is she going? I know she said she put on... Martina's outfit. I was just like, you look horrible. You look like you're about to go clean the pool. Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you have on? I'm like, again, you're not a great housewife at all. And I don't care what anyone says about Lisa's outfit. I felt like Lisa at least gave us something. I could see the preppy in what she was giving us, but it was like a take on being preppy, but different, but edgy. I was like, okay. I mean, it's not necessarily 100% preppy, but I definitely saw the preppy in it. Stephanie looked like how Stephanie normally dresses. Of course, same with Marysol. I mean, I feel like Alexia got the theme right. Who else was there? Gertie was definitely given avant-garde preppy. I didn't love it, but then when I was kind of seeing how the tie was sort of like a shoulder strap, I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. I feel like the execution with the rest of the dress, here we go talking fashion, the rest of the dress was sort of sloppy, but I kind of didn't mind it. And her skin and her bald head, I'm like, it was a vibe. And the glasses, you saw her with the white glasses, she looked very chic coming in, and she came bearing gifts. Come on in. Look, come on. And thank you to everyone that gave me gifts at the Atlanta show. Someone gave me some tea stuff. I love a good tea thing. So they gave me tea. They gave me cookies. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. They're all on my kitchen counter right now that I'm trying to organize since I got back yesterday. All right. Rosalind says, Julia is an idiot. I don't know what she had on. She looked ridiculous. Anyway, so Marysol and Adriana decide to have a conversation. All right, so they have a conversation. Adriana apologizes to Marysol. Marysol says she doesn't understand why Adriana keeps taking digs at her. I feel like there's more going on off camera between Adriana and Marysol, and that's why. But based off the show, I could see where people are like, yeah, Adriana is always taking digs at Marysol. But I always feel like Marisol's taking digs at Adriana. I feel like they take digs at each other. Maybe they need to find a common ground, very much like Karen and Giselle, where they're able to take digs at each other, but still be friendly and still be able to interact with each other. I feel like that's where they haven't figured it out. They haven't figured out a frenemy-ship. Foxy says that I like the way that Stephanie dressed. She reminds me of Dr. Nicole. I think she reminds you of Dr. Nicole because they do look alike. Dr. Nicole, though, I wouldn't say that she is conservative, but you saw what she wore to the lunch last week with Gertie. It was almost a little conservative, but sexy at the same time. So their style is somewhat different, but they do look a lot alike. Anthony's got a type. They look a lot alike. If you go look at that picture of them together, hanging out with Gertie. All right. So Marysol and Adriana call a truce. She wants them to be sort of like the mediators on this Seville trip. So they have a quick conversation. They come back in. Adriana's like, oh, we're good. Me and Marysol are good. Look at Alexia's face. Alexia's face was sort of like, oh. Like she wasn't happy about it, clearly. Because she has the maturity of a young lady in high school. Okay. Yeah. Amit says that I'm thinking you're talking about Dr. Nicole, classier and trendier. Yeah, but they look a lot alike in the face. Look at their faces. Dr. Nicole and Stephanie. Yes, Westchester, Latina. We did see that Leah Black's husband passed away. That was a couple of weeks ago. You know? Okay. So they go back in. They have dinner. Marysol talks more about her background. She wants to kind of emphasize why they're doing this preppy dinner. She talks about her dad. Adriana comes in being an intellectual and talks about how the reason why you probably relate to your dad a lot is because with your chromosomes. So she explains that. And then she talks about, I'm in this program. I'm getting my master's in psychology at Harvard. So everyone was just like, even Marisol's like, I got that sweatshirt too from Harvard at the Boston airport. And then Larsa's like, you could pay for an online course. You can't just enter into a Harvard online course, Larsa. They have certain courses that you can do that, but not to say you're going to get a master's in psychology. And I hope that Adriana finished her course and drops that receipt at the reunion. Like, no, guys, I actually have my master's. But the thing is, we've said this season alone, like, people sleep on Adriana. Adriana, yeah, she did all the music and things like that, but no, she's a pianist. She knows multiple languages. She's got multiple degrees. We had no idea that she was working on another degree. But they all wanted to none of them like Adriana. But quiet as it's kept, Adriana's smarter than all of y'all. She's smarter than all of you. All right. So they start looking at each other's preppy looks and comparing the preppy looks. Julia shows off. He's like, I got this from Martina's closet. We could tell. Okay. We could tell, like, ew, you look ridiculous. All the other women took that idea. It's like, you know what? I'm going to take preppy and do something with it. You were the only one that did not. And then she showed off the sneakers. They weren't the sneakers she wore to Gertie's party, she says. I was like, girl, those sneakers looked run down. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so Gertie asked Julia if they could have a conversation. And so they go and they have a conversation about some of their issues. And Gertie talks about feeling betrayed when at the narcissist party, the Grecian party, that Julia brought up their issues. So, excuse me. She said that she felt betrayed by her doing that. And Julia says, well, I thought, because he's a life coach, that he could help us. Really, girl? Really? You could have asked him that question on a side. You could have brought Gertie over and asked him that question. You did not have to make it a fodder for the cameras or fodder for the entire group when you just had a conversation about not doing things like this in front of the group. Rosalind says that Julia is the cringiest housewife ever. Actually, don't get me started. But no, I will say that Shamia is probably the cringiest housewife ever. But Julia is a close second. Very close second. All right. So they have a conversation about, where they stand in their friendship. Okay. And Gertie gets emotional talking about it because she's like, you were a good friend to me. And I understand why Gertie probably feels blindsided this season with Julia, because she's like, you're bringing up something that happened 2 years ago. And now it's led to this. You're splashing me with water. Like, she really feels blindsided by Julia this season because she didn't expect to have any issues with Julia because they've been hanging out since then. And I don't know if someone gave her that as an idea to have a storyline, but it's weird. Keith says that Shamia's cringy, Julia's aggravating. Yeah, I agree. Kelly Ben Simone, she's cringy too, but I don't think she's the cringiest. Maybe. Who knows? Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting the channel. Members, I am going to drop the call and link for you guys on the community tab. So if you haven't already, keep liking the video. General audience, I will post the call and link when we hit 400 likes. And shout out to our podcast community. I see you guys, especially our Spotify community. You can leave comments on each episode. Let me see. I know we haven't posted in a couple of days on the podcast, but we will be today. So if you are, I just posted that. Let me delete that. I just posted that publicly, and I meant to just post it for members. There we go. All right. I've posted it for all members there. Let me bring this up. All right. So I'm not done just yet. Let me take a sip. There we go. Been talking a lot today, y'all. Gotta make sure I stay hydrated. And I had Pilates this morning. I had to get my body back into workout mode. I got Pilates again tomorrow. All right. So Julia and Gertie seem to make peace in their conversation because they kind of go back with the issues that they've had. It's the same stuff. I could unpack everything that they said in this conversation, but it's the same stuff. What stood out to me was that Julia, in her confessional, basically victimized herself again. And she says, I like to give people chances and that I can be cordial. What? Okay. And this is what Gertie was talking about. She says it's one thing that they talked during the season, and then when she's watching the episodes, she's just like, huh? She's thinking that you're in a better place, but then completely not. She wants to just be cordial. It's okay, Gertie. You can just be cordial with her. She won't be back next season. She should not be back next season. I think if they bring Julia back next season, it's only going to hurt the show. I don't want to deal with another season of Julia and whatever storyline she's going to try and give us. Just saying. So, Julia gets back to the table. She talked about the trip and how Stephanie's going. Stephanie says she's going to take 3 other housewives. She can't take all of the housewives because of how long the trip is across the ocean, and from Miami to Seville. But she will transport them once they're in Seville to the other town. Okay. She already decided to bring Larsa. As you know, she said she's going to bring Julia. So she had like one other spot free. Apparently, she was going to give that spot to Marysol, but Marysol, being a good friend, this is one thing I can appreciate about Marysol, being a good friend, loyal friend, says that no, this trip is for Alexia. I can't, give her my seat, kind of thing. Okay. So we find this out when Stephanie and Alexia have a conversation. Here's the thing. I could go back and forth with you in regards to what they said in this conversation. Their issue is not that deep. Hence why I'm so shocked at this seating chart. The issues between Stephanie and Alexia are not deep. Alexia making an issue of her calling her a Rottweiler when they were on the ship last week and trying to drag that out, there really is no issue. I understand why Alexia might be annoyed with Stephanie, because it's like, girl, why are you commenting on my relationship? You're new in this group. I understand that. But it felt like y'all already made peace after that. Then it got turned up again at Gertie's party. Then you made peace after that. Now we're dragging it out again to the point where you drag it out during this trip. It better make sense during the trip. But if it's the same stupidity, I'm going to be like, okay, you guys are ruining the show. I still do not understand why you are sitting next to Andy. If it's the same stupid issue, I'm going to be like, girl. So they have a conversation, and they go back and forth in regards to why they have issues with each other. And then as an olive branch, Stephanie offers the seat on the private jet. Okay? But I have to say, Alexia's response was actually kind of funny when she was just like, huh? Look, huh? Okay. Then she says, I couldn't possibly take that seat. I should be with Marysol. I have to say, I appreciate them having each other's back, but sometimes they do that to the point where it's separating the group. But in this particular moment, I find it to be endearing and sweet. So they both decide not to be on the private jet. So Stephanie gets back to the table, mentions it, and she says, I'm between bringing Kiki or Adriana, but she hasn't gotten a chance to really get to know Adriana. Kiki says, you know what? You haven't got an opportunity to get to know her. I'm going to make it easy for you. Just take Adriana. Adriana is just like, I'm surprised that my own best friend Julia didn't do what Marisol did for Alexia. So Julia's like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you making me out to be a bad friend? But I get where Adriana's coming from. But again, you should not be surprised by Julia's behavior. She probably would do the same thing to Martina. Julia is about self. Just saying. And someone like that is dangerous. But anyway, I think she would do the same thing to Martina. She would like, oh, I wasn't invited. Anyway. So it starts to get a little tiff. It didn't get elevated at the table, but you started to see a little bit of the cracks between Adriana and Julia, and I'm sure that's going to play out during the cash trip next week. Okay. April says that Kiki was tired of Stephanie's speech. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Look, maybe. All right. And that's how they end the episode. However, Alexia gets really emotional. And at first I was like, why is she getting emotional? But she was getting emotional because of what Marysol ended up doing. And Adriana was like, she's a good friend. That was really nice of her to do that. So Alexia gets emotional. And then she says in her confessional, Marysol has been a good friend to her, especially during this time with Todd and everything that's happening. Okay. Sidebar, when they invited Alexia on this trip, she said, I have to be back before November 18th because Todd's birthday is November 19th. I mean, look, at this particular point, I'm tired of talking about Todd. I'm tired of talking about this relationship. You like it, girl, we love it. But I can also understand. Here's the thing. I know they were married a short period of time, but remember when they came on the show, they were together for a few years. So they've been in a relationship for a long time. They obviously have some sort of connection, but it's a toxic connection at this particular point. The man divorced you. You guys are divorced and you're still sleeping with each other. And the way he did it was so underhanded and sneaky. Like that says a lot about his character. If that's really what happened. People speculate that no, she knew this was coming. But if this is exactly the way it happened, the way he did that tells you a lot about who he is. He's sneaky. He's not to be trusted. Damn Scorpios. All right, let's get into some quick callers, guys, and then I'm going to get out of here because I got other things to do. I've been away for a couple of days. All right, don't forget, guys, we are coming to Washington, D.C. D.C., first of all, a couple of things, D.C. We're at a different location. We're at Camora's across the street, Pearl. We're at the Pearl location. So for those that may have not gotten their notification from the venue, we're across the street. But secondly, don't forget to get your tickets. Don't forget there are meet and greets available as well. And what we talk about, or what we've talked about in Philly and Atlanta, won't be what we talk about because I got some tea to spill. Well, I got a few things. Shout out to Atlanta for remembering some of the things that I wanted to mention. You guys asked the questions like, you had tea to talk about this, and this, and I talked about it. But I came home to something that I need to mention to exclusively to the Washington, D.C. show. I'm not going to tell anyone. Club Kempire, you're not going to even get it either. I'm going to wait until I'm in D.C. to mention it. So go get your tickets today. I'll be in Washington, D.C. on August 22nd. And then New York City, we have our live show September 12th, rounding out our summer tour for the villain era. All right. Shout out to all the conversations I had in Atlanta as well, how some of you were really inspired by the villain era. I love that for us. Go get your tickets today. More ticket information is available in the description, including meet and greets. And the New York City show has an exclusive live stream option, so you'll be able to watch the show live with us. And you'll be able to keep that for a week. So that ticket actually is better than for those that are coming to the live show. That's why I said to you, not that you have to if you're coming to the live show, but sometimes when you're in the moment and you're live watching it, you forget things. At least with the live stream option, you can watch that for days, for a week. Just say, I think it's a really cool option. Shout out to the Green Room 42. More information will be available in the description. All right, let's get to our callers. The opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, TheKempire LLC, or our partners or sponsors. And everything that they say is alleged. Okay? All right, and please make sure that you are abiding to the timer. Okay, let's get into some quick callers. Once we get to 400 likes, I will drop the call link for the general audience as well. Anthony's first backstage. Anthony, what's going on?
Oh, wow, I'm first. Hey, I'm here in Los Angeles, California, watching from Twitch. Everybody come join Twitch. It's actually pretty cool over here. Yes. I like it. So for this episode, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 8 out of 10. It's still funny, even though we're dealing with the troubles, the conversation, things like that. But they still bring out some fun in Miami. And that's what I love about Miami. It's not the full episode fully on the arguments or whatever. There's some like fun sprinkled in it as well. So yeah. I'll give Miami that. Stephanie, I need her to be on every franchise because she says literally what's on her mind. And it's not like she's lying about it. There's seasons and seasons of proof from these ladies. So Stephanie, I love her so far. Lastly, Julia. I said before that I went through an adoption. For Julia to go through this and not, because what is she saying? It looks like she never told her daughters that she was planning to adopt from the beginning. And for me, I don't know how long it took for Julia and Martina. For me, my partner, it took maybe about 3 years to finish this adoption. So she had so much time to literally tell her daughters, even before signing an application, and yet nothing. So that's disrespectful.
If it was done properly.
No, right. I mean, obviously, you would have conversations before applying and bring it up to your daughters.
But that's what I'm wondering, if this was done on the up and up.
Yeah, well, that too. But it's like, they're still your daughters, even though they're adults living their life. Like, it's still the family. So
I agree with you 100%. But when I'm talking about the time frame of things, because remember, it seemed really quick. So I'm wondering if it was done, anyway. But that's my thoughts.
Right. Thank you so much, Kempire.
Thanks, Anthony. Take care.
Likewise.
Bye. Shout out to our Twitch community. We dropped the link there first. Nicole's backstage. Nicole, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how you doing?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm going to finish that sentence for you. It was done for the show, okay? Because I'm going to be on Martina Navratilova's neck right now because I told you, I'm 51 years old. So I grew up in the tennis world. I played competitively in high school and in college, and because of the resources that I had available to me because I'm a foreign service brat. I grew up overseas, so that's why I was able to be in different spaces like that. So when you talk about you being that only Black kid in a white space, that's how I grew up most of my life. And so I'm going on Martina Navratilova. Yeah, she's a legend. But when you want to get technical about it, she was good with her technicality, but she was slow-footed. Old school. Like, she wasn't quick with it. That's why she had to retire like she did. That's why you saw the episode. And when Stephanie's husband was talking about Chris, he was talking about Chris Evert. Because Chris Evert is one of my favorite tennis people. But I just want to say to you, but the first time I ever heard the N-word was when I competed against in a country club, an invitational meet when I was 15 years old. Because I beat the white opponent. I whooped her tail. And her coach came behind me and called me the N-word. That was my first experience. Tennis itself is a very
I thought you were going to say it
sport.
was from one of the other teenagers, but it was actually from the coach.
Yes, and it's a very elitist sport. So that's going to go back to, I'm going to go back to what you were talking about. How were they able to adopt? The WTA, the Women's Tennis Association, is based in St. Petersburg, Florida. There's a lot of money flowing through there. There's a lot of influence flowing through there. And that's why she was able to get the quickness. I'm just saying.
Okay. Thanks,
And
Nicole.
yeah, that's all. If you need to know anything about tennis, talk to me. I got you.
Thanks,
You have a
Nicole.
blessed day, sweetheart.
You too. Bye. Hold on. There was a comment here that I wanted to highlight. Where is it? Foxy says, "How can you forget your own daughter's name of her school?" Remember that with Julia, but that wasn't the comment. Where is it? Oh, wait. Forever Tyranny says, "I thought Julia mentioned last season that she wanted to adopt." That's the thing, too. That's why I don't feel like the daughters were necessarily blindsided, because she had mentioned that she wanted to adopt. But then remember, all this stuff really happened very quickly. I feel like there's more. And maybe during the season or maybe during the reunion, she will explain more as to why the girls are not talking. Her daughters are not talking to her. All right, let's get to the other calls. We have O'Shea backstage. O'Shea, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire. I think we need to start voting on the seating for the reunions because it's gotten out of control. Like in the past year or two, it's like I don't understand what's going on. And the thing is not like just with them sitting. It allows Andy to manipulate the conversations and control the narratives that come out of it. And it just ends up messing the reunion. And the other thing I wanted to say was about Loni Love. At her big age, she still has no self-esteem. She's still begging for white people's attention. I'm like, I don't understand. And it wasn't that, she just said that. She followed up by saying, because now we're having conversations that we shouldn't be having on these shows. I'm like, these grown women should be able to deal with people of other races. Like, it's not, like, you cannot say that we shouldn't have them because grown people should know not to be racist and all the things. And that was a justification. I'm like, at your big age, you are twerking for Andy out of all people to give you a cameo on one of these shows. It's really, I found that very upsetting. But she's always been like that, though.
She had me on Tamar's side.
You see. Thanks, Kempire.
Thanks, O'Shea. Bye. O'Shea said it perfectly, because that's the feeling that I ended up having hearing her talk about her unpopular opinions. I was just like, girl. All right. Anyway, Miss Bernice is backstage. Miss Bernice, what did you want to share?
What up, though? What up, though? How you doing, everybody?
Hey.
Okay, let me get this right. I'm not going to... Bonnie is my girl. She Detroit. What she was saying, like you were saying, there's no chemistry. Mm-hmm. You just can't put black people together and then go, bam. Mm-hmm. Okay, we friends all of a sudden. If I don't have no chemistry with you, I'm not going to have no chemistry with you.
Yeah.
If I don't know you beforehand and we done established a relationship, that's what she was saying. You just putting random black women here. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll mix it up. We got majority white. Let's put in a Latina. Let's put in a black person. But there's no camaraderie there.
Yeah.
That's what she was talking about. Mm. And Bravo, it's notorious for not talking about racial issues.
Yeah.
And when it happens, they play dumb.
It's not a safe space.
They be an ostrich and they put their head in the sand. We don't see nothing. We don't know nothing. We're not going to do nothing. And this season proves it with Gertie. Mm-hmm. How the victim was all of a sudden the villain. Where they do that at?
Bravo.
Really? And if you don't get these Death Becomes Her twins, Marysol and Alexia, out my face, I want you to trip down the stairs and crash into a million pieces like the end of the movie. I don't want to see you no more.
That reminds me, I need to go get tickets for that on Broadway.
Because neither one of you are bringing anything. I don't give a care that you still in love with your ex-husband. Ugh, don't care. I don't care about Marisol's lavender marriage. You can quiet as the kelp. Alexia's got a lavender marriage. She just getting some D in the pocket. That's it.
Well.
But I digress. It pissed me off. I got to go woosah.
Oh.
Woosah.
Thank you, Miss Bernice.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
See, Miss Bernice is the reason why I want to go to Detroit. Shout out to everyone that watches us in Detroit. But if I get to Detroit and I have a show, we are going to be bringing out Miss Bernice, okay? I don't care where you at, Miss Bernice, okay? All right, April, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire, good afternoon.
Hey.
I feel like they definitely robbed Gertie of the first share, and I'm wondering if it's because she's had the first share like the other times, as well as what Miss Bernice was saying, that they don't like to talk about those racial issues. And now I'm wondering if it's a scheme set up by Todd to come with us with the BS, because it's like, I feel like production is now playing in our face even more, because, okay, we've gotten episodes of her and Julia trying to hash it out. So maybe they're trying to justify that seating chart, but it's still bogus. And I feel like Marysol and Lion Lisa, no, not Lion Lisa, Lion Larsa are just jealous of Adriana, like doing things outside of the show, maybe because she actually has a life and what she does is real and they're fake, so they can't relate. And I think Alexia is a plumb bob fool to be trying to go back to someone who, quote unquote, left your son in the apartment by himself. Girl, is you cool? I don't like that. But enjoy the rest of your day, Kempire.
Thanks, April. All right. Janelle is backstage. I saw Janelle at the play Purpose. And I was like, is that Janelle? I was like, is that Janelle?
But let me tell y'all something. I saw Kempire walk in.
Oh, you did?
And I was on the clock. So I could not say bonjour. I just had to keep it cute and act like I didn't see him, because I knew I was like, I'm gonna go up to him afterwards.
Okay. Because I kept on seeing, I said, let me send you a DM.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to assume.
But no, you also don't forget the part. I was holding up a sign that said, please silence your cell phones, and then you send me a DM. I would have looked crazy.
But I figured when you took a break that you would probably see it.
Yes, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, bonjour. Yes, and also I'm gonna send you a DM after this. Life has been a little busy, but I'm gonna send you a DM after this.
And Janelle will be at my live show here in New York City.
Yes, here we are. Y'all get ready.
And Janelle is really like this in real life, y'all. Just saying.
I really am. You know what? I tell people all the time what I'm like in public. It's like what I am in private. Just maybe a little bit quieter because I'm watching TV. So bonjour. I am. I'm in too much since birth. Anyways.
Real Housewives of Miami. What are your thoughts?
Yes. You know what? I think, okay, first off, I just want to bring this up because I didn't see the seating chart until you put up your short. I realized at that moment when I saw Alexia in the first chair, I was like, oh, she's the Teresa of Miami. They are exactly the same.
Oh my God.
They were separated at birth. Just take away their accents and you're like, what? Eyes closed, they would literally be the same person. And I think that's the reason why Alexia gets the first chair, is because she is the Teresa, and Andy loves him some Teresa. Love or hate Teresa, he loves her some Teresa. And I feel like that energy has been transferred over to Alexia. Marysol can go, because once we find out what she allegedly did to Dr. Nicole, I'm like, girl, we can't do this. I need you to have several seats. Too much for no reason, okay? And yes, Gertie can be too much. There are times where I watch the show and I just like, girl, take a breath. I talk a lot too. I'm loud too. And so if I'm telling you take a breath, I'm like, hold up. I'm trying to process what you just told me. It's nothing personal. It's just like, hold up. Let's take a beat. But I love her personality. I think the women just don't like her because she does walk into a room and people are gravitated towards her. You know what they say in the church? Favor ain't fair. Y'all will be fine. Trust and believe. Y'all will be fine. And also, I understand what Loni was saying about, you shouldn't have these, singular Black people on these predominantly white shows. As a person who grew up in a predominantly white area in Florida, like I, from K through 12, predominantly white, I usually was always either the one or maybe two Black people in my advanced or AP courses in high school. And if I was one or two, it was like my friend Gabby. Like we were we were always the only ones. And so I understand that feeling of like, oh my God, like, does anybody see me? Does anybody understand what I'm going through? And I think that's also another reason why Bravo does not want to talk about racism, because if they force people to think about racism, then it will force people, mostly of the vanilla variety, to look beyond themselves and put themselves in other shoes, and they'll get depressed. Because then they'll be, because that's why they don't do it, because it's a journey within yourself first before you can look outward. But like, I understand what Loni's trying to say, but at the same time, it's like, no, it's like if they have chemistry, like my best friend is white, we got crazy chemistry. She the quiet one, I'm the crazy one. It works.
Yeah.
And that's because our vibes work.
To me, it's the chemistry.
Right,
all right, Janelle.
Anyway, I'm gonna see you in September.
Yes, ma'am. Unless I see you at another show.
Yes. In the DM, I'll tell you more tea. I was going to tell you the show, and I forgot in the moment because I was on the clock. Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. Hold on. There was something that I want. Godchild says, unpopular opinion. If Bravo is known to sidestep racial issues, the Loni Loves of the world should use the platform on Watch What Happens Live to educate Andy about the impact of micro and macro aggressions that play out. So you understand it completely what O'Shea was saying. Yes, sir. All right. Keith is backstage. Keith, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
So first of all, with Stephanie, I just want to know, did she say that more than 4 people couldn't travel because of the tension in the group? Or was it because of her plane? Because I'm confused on why they couldn't travel for 8 hours.
I think it's the plane. I think probably the weight of the plane maybe can't travel that far with that many people.
Boy, that's a big plane for it not to be able to carry more than 4 people.
Right?
Like, that's a little strange, but okay, Stephanie. But also, I want to also piggyback on to what Ms. Bernice and a few of the other callers were saying, particularly about Loni Love and what you were referring to about, you know, the whole token minority in the friend group. And my thing is, I feel like I understand where she's coming from, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I do think the way that she worded it could have been different. And it's more so really about chemistry, because when I look at the history of Housewives with like Ebony K. Williams, Noella, Katie, Tiffany from Dallas, Gertie, Mary from SLC, Garcelle, they have all been in a predicament where we have accused of their housewives of possibly doing microaggressions towards them. So I feel like I understand what she's talking about, but it's really more so about putting that one person in a group.
But here's the thing.
They're not really familiar with anyone there, so it's hard for them to really connect. So
but here's the thing. I feel like that conversation, and I'm not one to like don't have these conversations amongst white people. No, I feel like very much like what the person said in the chat, this was your opportunity to actually be a voice for the voiceless on this platform when you're talking to an executive producer of this show. If anything, you just hurt any future opportunities of people of color being on the show.
I agree. And I felt like with Loni, she, instead of saying Black people in particular shouldn't be in these predicaments, she should have called out Andy and production on why these are consistently happening. So I understand
and why they're not supported.
Was saying, or
or why they're not supported.
Exactly. But I don't want to take up too much time. But yeah, I just agreed with a few of the other callers, and I definitely think some more changes can be happened for Bravo.
Okay. Thanks, Keith. I love that we're having this conversation, though, because for those that didn't see it, Loni Love was on Watch What Happens Live, and they played a game of some of her unpopular opinions, and that was one of the things that she had brought up. I don't want to, not fully verbatim say what she said, but you can watch it there in regards to what she had, some of her unpopular opinions. Viewer viewing is backstage. Viewer viewing, what did you want to share?
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. This episode was pretty boring. Yeah, like it was just like, I don't know, it was one of those filler episodes. In observing Julia, with her wanting constant praise from her spouse, centering everything around her, her appearance. I was wondering, because I think she's probably insecure. You know, and sometimes, you know, you think the insecure person is going to be shy and timid, but it can be the opposite. Like they crave attention and want affirmation. And I was wondering, did she, I think the biggest thing that upset Julia is that Gertie aired out her business about getting the facelift.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything else, because was it after she said the facelift thing that she threw the water?
Oh, I can't remember now. Probably. I can't remember. You guys remember? Let me know in the chat. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was in that same night.
Yeah, and I think that Bravo, they should open up opportunities for Gertie to have her own show showing how she does events or showing the behind the scenes, or like her with clients or whatever. Like that would be awesome. Yeah. I know you said that like Candy's sunset has sailed and stuff like that, but I would have even loved seeing that backstage footage for her Bravo show. And like what Drew Sidora is doing now, she has a movie with Claudia Jordan that's going to be in theaters. So like, I'd like to see what they do, like actually what they do, but that's just my 2 cents. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. Julia, I think that her kids are mad because she cut them off probably.
Financially? Because they
financially. I think that's why. I don't think it has anything to do with those kids. I think it's the reason why she cut them off financially that they're upset. And I don't think she's going to put that on the show.
Okay. All right. Thanks, viewer viewing. All right. Winter's backstage. Winter, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
All right. So what stood out to me in this episode was the conversation with Gertie and Dr. Jackie. I feel like they just keep glancing over the fact that this woman had survived breast cancer. And it makes me wonder, of course, like if she was a light-skinned woman, would they have treated her differently? Because it was only last season this woman was going through chemo and all these things. And I'm like, it was just like, oh my God, she had breast cancer. Okay. And then glanced over it. And I'm like, they really had no respect for Gertie. Like they just don't even care. They're not like really trying to see how she's moving through, navigating through after her battle with cancer. And I'm just like, I really feel bad for her. Like you see how emotional it is. Like how she's trying to really just keep going forward, and they just don't care. Like these girls have no empathy for her. So like it really made me emotional. Like I just feel bad for Gertie. Another thing, Martina, she's just so miserable. Like she cannot answer a question and say something positive. Like I'm like, I know they're not doing the do, like clearly. So yeah. Anyways, bye.
Thanks, Winter. All right. We have Nia backstage. We'll bring Nia up next. Nia, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, call me trying to type out an email. Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm going to say I love Miami, but this season is really triggering me. And I don't know if I'm just being sensitive, but this episode, it had me in tears because the conversation with Gertie and Dr. Jackie, I haven't watched too many episodes of, what is it? Married to Medicine. I watched not this past season, but the season before when Sweet Tea came on. Sorry, I don't like Dr. Simone, so I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that franchise. But seriously, I don't know. This season, it has me in tears. I mean, because I have not had breast cancer, but I have a cancer that I went through 2 years ago. And with that, like, you know, you have your ride or dies. Like, I have my family, I have my friends, but you're going to have some people who don't stick by you. And I'm not going to cry. But when Gertie was Dr. Jack, oh, shoot, here I go.
No, keep going.
When Gertie was talking to Dr. Jack, I'm going to speed up this. Sorry, people. But when Gertie was talking to Dr. Jackie, and she was talking about, like, these women, they're just not here for me, I completely resonated with that. And I felt so bad. And I just, the tear works, they just started going. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wish for her. I wish better for her and stuff. So I don't know. I just feel like all of this stuff that is going, and they're treating this to a woman who went through cancer. She went through the chemo. She even said this. She even said it like, I don't know if I want to go on. And I mean, I completely get that, because when I was going through my chemo journey, you have those days where it's like, you're so weak, I can't even walk down the hall or anything like that. So I feel bad for her. Yeah. But I'm not going to hold you up or anything like that. So I feel bad for Gertie. Love your content, love your community and everything like that. You have a good Thursday, and I guess I'll see you maybe later this week or next week or so. So have a good afternoon, Gert.
Thank you so much.
Afternoon, Kempire.
Thank you so much, Nia, for calling in and sharing your story as well. All right, we're going to bring up as our last caller, Chef Lorraine, who I met in Atlanta. Chef Lorraine? There we go.
I'm trying. There you go. Hi, Kempire.
How are you?
I'm great. I just want to say hello to the ladies that were sitting at the table with me. I don't remember their names, but I remember one was from Long Island, one was from Virginia, and one was from Colorado.
Wow. We had a lot of people that came on their own. So if you're scared to come to the DC show on your own, we had such a large crowd of people that came on their own and made friends.
Yes. And I drove from Charlotte by myself. And guess what, Kempire?
What?
My sister came with me. She had never heard of you. She don't watch reality shows, and she is in love with you now. So we popped a Kempire version.
Yes. We got a Well, thank you for that.
Yes, it was amazing. I loved it. And I'm so sorry that I interrupted you when I said I told you and messed you up because you was on the roll. That's my bad. I apologize to everyone that was there.
I completely forgot about that.
And the one thing I will say about Housewives of Miami, I believe Gertie she has like a show on her now ever since last year when Larsa gave up her information about her being sick. So now she's on the defense about everything. And as far as everyone else, they get on my nerves, and I can't stand that dagnabbit Julia either. So there you go. That's all I have to say about them.
Thank you, Chef
I love
Lorraine.
you, and you have a great day, okay?
Thank you for coming to the show, too.
All right.
And turn your sister on to us.
Yes, she's going to watch later on. I sent her today's show. I shared it with her, so she said she was going to watch when she got off work.
Awesome. Well, shout
she's
out to
a lawyer,
you and your sister.
She can't do that at work.
Oh, she's a what?
She's a lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah.
She could do it at work. I'm playing. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, honey. Bye-bye.
This is why I do the live shows, and this is why I don't necessarily have some of the reality TV stars or celebrities come to the show, because it really is about us and the community having a conversation. We did do that at the DC show. We had what's her name? Oh, damn, I forgot her name. She's the newbie. Damn, I forgot her name already? Wow. Anyway, I love us as a community coming together and having these conversations and talking the hot topics. So, DC, you're up next in just a couple of weeks. Literally, tomorrow will be 2 weeks. Two weeks. Stacy, thank you, Tanya. Stacy, and still I rise, and still I rise. Oh my goodness. I will be starting the rewatch next week. Next week we will be launching our new show. Do I even have the picture here? Do I have it here? I don't think I have it here, which is okay. It's all right. Yeah, we'll be starting the rewatch recap show next week. So stay tuned. Melissa said Stacy, rolling eyes. Yeah, so we had Stacy at the DC show last year, but that was like a surprise. We brought her towards the end of the show. Anyway, but you just never know who's going to pop up. But I appreciate everyone that's come to the Philly show, the Atlanta show, those of you that have already gotten your tickets for DC, those of you that have already gotten your tickets for New York City, or you got your live stream tickets for New York City. Thank you. Still have time. Let's sell out the show in DC. Let's sell out the show in New York City. Because we do have to, in order for us to keep doing this, guys, we got to sell out shows. We can't just, key together and think like, oh yeah, they're going to magically give us more opportunities to have these shows. So let's sell out some more shows together. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. It was a members only live chat. Shout out to those of you that are subscribers and those of you watching in the bushes and our replay crew. Be sure to let us know how you would rate this week's episode of the Real Real Housewives of Miami. Let me see how you guys rated this week based off of the live chat. Let me go to the live chat and let me see. I mean, you still, this was not my favorite episode this week, but still 60% of you rated this week's episode between a 7 and 10. 37% of you rated it between a 4 and a 6. 1 to 3, 3% of you. So still was an interesting episode. And I think it's only going to get better when they go on this cast trip, because I think, they're away. It's going to be a lot more light and fun. They're filming the reunion today. We did talk about the reunion seating chart. Doesn't make sense to me, but again, we still probably have at least 8 more episodes of the season. Either way, I feel like the majority of the season we've been talking about Julia and Gertie. I don't know how they decide. I think Andy's been asked about how they decide, and I still don't have a clear answer as to how they decide on the seating chart. It's not a big deal at the end of the day, but whatever. Exactly. God's Child said, I'm a lawyer. I'm doing it at work today. It's okay. Everyone's lawyer's different, but it's fine. We appreciate anyone watching. We appreciate our replay crew as well. Thank you all for being here. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. We had a couple more super chats. Keith, thank you for being a member. Keith says, my friend broke his ankle and I came bearing soup. Gertie just beat breast cancer and they come bearing drinks to her face. I wouldn't even want to raise my voice. Right? Damn. Estelle, thank you so much for the super chat. Estelle says, bonsoir. I think Julia's girlfriend or girls are upset because in a case of a tragedy, they might be the one who will have the responsibility of those boys' future. I didn't even think about that. You guys have brought up some very valid points. Could it be the financial aspect? Could it be that this was so quick and it wasn't discussed with them, like seriously discussed with them? Or could it be that? Valid points. Replay crew, I want to hear your thoughts on Julia and why her kids might be upset at her. I also want to hear your thoughts on what Loni Love had to say on Watch What Happens Live. I'm sure you can see the clip here on YouTube so you can see verbatim what she said. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm out.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. As always, you can hear Kempire on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. More information can be found on KempireRadio.com.